Okay, guys, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Glad to see everyone. Naakis, Michele, Captain, Patrick, Prelim, Enlightened Kilt. Thank you so much for hanging out. First time here. We really appreciate you. Sincerely. Let all I have to do is type. I haven't had my voice for over a week. Oh, that sucks. Sup, guys? Sup, guys? Cat H. Hey, the whole team's in here. G Minion, overacting. See you guys sitting over there. Nice to see you. All right, so we got a few people in tonight. See what we got so far. 12 viewers. So what I want to do, kind of sort of an AMA type, not exactly anything, but if anyone would like to join me and hang out and talk and just share experience, whatever you would like to do, here's the link. I'm not going to leave it up the whole time. Give one or two people a chance to get in here. You guys want to jump in and hang out with the wolf? Something I haven't ever done. Just join me random stream. So everyone wants to join in? Come on, jump on in with us. We'd be glad to talk. One cheer, we all piled in. Cheers to everybody who piled in. Thank you so much. Kind of a special surprise guest show. Whoever wants to jump on in and hang out with the wolf, come on in. You got things you've been wanting to ask about my research, things you wanted to ask me in general, theories, anything, come on in. And it can be more than one person. Multiple people come in. I don't expect just one person. I'm not going to leave the link up long, just in case we do get some crazies in here. So A little bit different style tonight. I really didn't have nothing to go with. And you guys usually give me some really great topics anyway, so it's you guys' turn. What? There we go. What's up, Captain? Great to see you. Don't have any audio on Captain's side. Make sure it's not my control room. And I'll go back to the, okay, hold on 1 second. Turn you up a little bit. Now try it. I ain't hearing nada. Nada. While we're waiting on Captain to get his stuff figured out here, now I got my speakers turned all the way up too. Make sure I've got all my volumes up just to be sure it's not me. Nope, all my volumes are up. So whoever else coming, you're probably gonna blow my doors off. Why do I identify with a wolf? Okay, so I've always adored wolves. I've always thought they're very beautiful, majestic creatures. I think they are very, very cunning, very smart, very loyal, very great creatures. And I always adored the darker black and gray wolves and things like that. So, ooh, Michelle's volume works. Hello.
Sorry.
No worries. I had it turned all the way up just in case I could try to hear Captain.
I got a new mic. Woohoo.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
What do you think of my background? This is the work of the help from Dark Wolf himself. Helped me out with Google Hangouts, green screen, OBS. Also, somebody turned their microphone, their camera around and showed me that I have my lights backwards. And now I'm also stretching the green screen out just straight and not worrying about that corner. So hopefully the fractaling in my hair and stuff is not as bad as what it was. So where you been, Dark Wolf? We've missed you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's looking good there. You got a nice background going now. Your hair is not glitching out and jumping everywhere and missing half of you.
Half my head would disappear.
It looks really good. Great job. You did a great job on it.
You should have warned me because I said, if you're going to do that, tell me, because I don't, there's no makeup. You get this, you get me raw. It's it. It's it. Now let me pull it up so I can see there.
Like I said, I didn't really have a topic tonight. I've discussed the emotion theory in depth, so I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. I just want to put the info out there and let it be. If I keep saying the same thing every live stream, people are going to stop watching. I already heard this. I already know what he's talking about. Some else. So I thought, well, I've never had just pull people in.
Improv forum. Nice. You never know. But I've never done it in the stream like you did. That's brave, dude. Brave.
VA do it a couple times and it's worked.
That's some courage there, man. Get in here, Glowing. What are you doing? Don't sideline it.
Is my mic working now?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I forgot I still was logged into Discord. It won't work if I'm still there, so I had to reset my phone.
Oh, that'll do it. That'll do it. How's the audio sound on me, guys? Said I'm sounding a little low there.
You're coming by 5x5. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. As long as I can hear the captain. Your sound's great. At first, I was like, what? No sound? What's going on? But then I could hear you typing, and I was like, no, there's sound.
Well, I was trying to play the YouTube music that was playing on the video, but it just wasn't coming through. I thought about just letting it be a talk stream with the Mandelbrot in the back and just everybody hang out. I said, no, I've been thinking about doing this surprise viewer stream for a while. Just, whenever viewers want to jump in and holler at the wolf, that's something I ain't done yet. And I was thinking about George Norrie's like secret door shows and stuff, and how would I do a secret door? Best I could come up with without turning the monitor off.
I think this is nice, and you can also get to know your viewership better. See, I'm starting it as a baby, so I mean I don't know what he got 600 something people it's a little harder to get to know people individually. But hey, I asked you, and I know that Glowing heard it, but when we were in the Mandela Monday, did you hear what I heard?
Yes. Yes, I did. I was quite surprised by that.
I was like, my mind was like, what?
I was like, why ain't Michele said nothing to me about it? Wait a minute. I would have heard about this.
I heard about it when I did, sir. You heard it when I heard it. I've got another person in the mix that I've heard about that's being worked on in the background that you do know about. This one I did not know about. It was just a confirmation done right there in front of everybody. And I was sitting there going, what did I hear? And I was trying to confirm with you if you heard it, and then you didn't say anything. And then people started asking, well, when are you going to do that interview? And I'm like, I heard it right. Oh my gosh.
I don't even know yet.
I know. Yeah. And I didn't even, that's right. Because we've been talking email and stuff, but not, anything concrete.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'll let everybody know. I think his testimony will be absolutely amazing. And just like, having you on and stuff and get the things that you share. And of course the ME will come up because that's, something he talks about with this Mandela Monday, but a little bit more about the journey. You know how my interviews go, but I think, I think he'll do really well, very well.
Well, I'm glad that you get testimonies out there, people's testimonies, people's stories. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do on more of the scale of the authors and the ones that are more well-known that are, people, like I say in every one of the interviews, people aren't going to go back to your first video when you got 150 videos. They're just not going to dig through that much. So it's good to remind people.
And I don't want them to.
I know I ain't got time to go back through everybody's body of work. I can only pick one or two and see what they're talking about if it interests me. And I'm not always going to know the creator that well or know where the information is coming from. So every now and then it's good to get information back out there for the new people. Hey, this is how I was originally affected. This is how it affected my life. This is where I went with it. Because people just don't know that about a lot of creators anymore.
And they don't realize how much work it is. I wanted to ask you, I know you're putting together a show, but I know that you've also been doing a lot of research. Can you give us some hints on your research? Just a little trinket?
Well, I'll be honest with you. We've been working the emotion theory, like I've been saying for about a week now, based on Suso's original emotion theory. Me and one of the other people in the research team decided to kind of take and run with this. Mainly me, and I was just kind of bouncing my ideas off of her, but but we kind of decided to take and run with this and just see what we could come up with. And after bouncing the idea around, what it seems to be, and this is only what it seems to be, and I could be completely wrong, but it fits our data thus far. So SMQ keeps talking about the different layers of reality and the different levels, and you got a variable layer and a reality layer. And I've been trying to figure out how our theories could come together. Because I really think the work he's doing is spot on. I know we're on to something over here. So what we've come up with is, so like Suso was saying, you get the media going and you get all this emotion built up. By the way, Enlightened Kilt, I haven't missed your question. We will get back to the basics here in just a moment. Anyway.
I'm sorry, did I burn off your basics? I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, no. They just wanted curious about everybody beginning experiences and whatnot. So,
okay.
How long you guys. So I just wanted them to know I did not miss the question. I've seen it. I just wanted to acknowledge it. You got a brand new person in chat here tonight, so the way we roll.
Nice. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified because like this one, he didn't put up a notification. I was stalking him, and as soon as he showed up live, I plopped it in Discord and said, let's bum rush him, and bing, 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 bing. We all filed in.
That was awesome.
We were waiting for you. Because you were going to get in so much trouble tomorrow if you didn't pop on live and I didn't take my nap.
You guys are the absolute sweetest. Thank you so much. But the emotion, it all goes back to the emotion. So you put out these new stories, put out these horrible stories, get people's emotions built up and get them built up. And remember, we're all one consciousness. We are the collective consciousness. So you put out the emotions, get all this emotion built up. And eventually it's got to reach a breaking point. It can be bad, it can be good, it can be the mix thereof. And once it reaches breaking point, that's when we hit a shift. We get this indicator in the human resonance. It could be that our emotions affect the weather, which isn't so far out of key. And if that be the case, it would have, the human resonance is the amount of lightning strikes at any given time at any given area in which you're reading the resonance. In our data, we keep getting this one specific signature, a spike signature. That could be when the emotion snaps. Now, this is where we come in. I can't explain why the changes occur after that. Well, sort of. I can't tell you what's going to change. But when this snap occurs, I think it sends a ripple, a shock wave, or a vibration through the variable layer, which SMQ was talking about, the layer just under this reality. And perhaps every now and then that vibration, the shock is high enough that it could just flip one of the blocks into a new setting. Therefore, Berenstain would become Berenstain because it shook it enough that it made it vibrate to a different one. Now, where do we come in? Why are we special? Why are we the ones that get to see this? Why are we empathic? Because we're all emotional filters. I believe that us Mandela affected people, because of the traumas we went through and the things we've accomplished and the way we've learned to deal with certain emotions and things, I believe we're the filters for the overall emotion of the collective consciousness. It filters back through us. Half of us get sad, half of us are happy. And we offset each other back to a neutral. Now remember, we all emit and radiate the emotion out from us. So I believe we're supposed to be the ones that take the emotion in, radiate it out back into a neutral zone until it gets built back up again to another snap. Again, it ain't got to be good or bad emotion. It ain't got to be both or any single. It can be any combination thereof. And that's as far as we've gotten with it so far. But it matches why the human resonance has a specific signature. It could also be the reason that it messes with our magnesium. That could be the element needed in order to make the transfer or transmutation of the energies into the neutral or even positive energies. It would also explain why every now and then we get one or two people that aren't empaths. Every single filter needs a little buffer zone. Just that little buffer or to handle things maybe that they just could not handle, so they can't be consciously aware of that they're empathic at all. Maybe in the background, they're subconscious, they're working it through and don't even know it. Maybe they get the rougher areas. Maybe they get the lighter areas. I don't know. This is all theory. This is all complete theory. It's the best we have so far, and it kind of ties together all the research done by the entire research team thus far. I can't say that it's correct. I can't 100% it, but anything you guys think, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. The ME experience. As for me, I went through a heightened part of my experiences, as I called it, around 2011, 2012, where the reality around me started shifting in weird ways that I wasn't sure what was going on at the time. Probably not going to go into major details here, but it definitely was. It took me past logic. I got to a point where logic I was reaching a barrier. I started realizing that everything was set up for division and to keep us at each other's throats, so to speak, and or arguing over little frivolous type of subjects, politics, and I realized it was all just, like as far as politics, it was just BS because, they all said what they're going to do. One side would say this, and they get in the office, and then no one really did what they said they were going to do. So, just seen it as a game, and so I disconnected from that. And then these experiences started happening, and opened my eyes to a whole nother part of reality, a whole different way of looking at logic. And so it's a little bit, and I wouldn't say fearful or scary, but it's a little bit disorienting at first, due to it's not part of what I would say I knew what reality was. And so, but once I got a hang of it and I started testing the construct, and then I started learning more from it. Um, and it's very interesting. And, I don't see an end to the learning, the infinite, what we speak of. Um, and I think that's part of what the Mandela effect is, as well as things will shift, and that's why you won't really find the end, because something might change, and you need to go back and find out what changed and why. And that's what I think we're doing, and it's fun and it's an interesting journey to go on. Now, different parts of we were talking about layers, and I think we talked about this prior in Discord. um, I had that experience near the end of it where I came to a conclusion um, at that point of just a basis of this spiritual experience I was going through to kind of keep me going uh, from that point on. And I seen it as there was this what some people might call Gaia or Mother. If you look at this thing as a computer system simulation, you might say motherboard, or AI is what people say. I think this is all the same thing, that we just interpret it differently from our perspectives and our experiences in life that we've had, and this is the way that we internalize it. I see that layer there, and that's kind of, we're all connected that on a subconscious level. Good.
My apologies for interrupting you. Could you go ahead and introduce yourself? We have a lot of people asking, who in the world is this caller? Who is this guy? So could you introduce yourself real quick and kind of where you're coming from with all this?
All right, yeah. They call me Capt. I'm California. Like I said, 2011, I had an experience. And then I was able to, I found these discourse groups through United and Awake. There's a guy named Nick that was sharing his experiences. And so it's kind of how I went through here and got to meet you guys. And then I've been kind of stuck here since.
Not stuck. You're such an asset. You're not stuck. Nice
No,
try.
I'm not stuck. But yeah, no, but I mean, I'm here where I'm supposed to be, pretty much. This is where I was supposed to be at this time and now. And then I'm sure if I'm meant to be somewhere else, that the construct will find its way to take me to that position or that spot or that place. I mean, yeah, if anybody has any questions they want to know about me, I definitely will answer them.
So how long have you been dealing with the Mandela effect, Kat?
Oh, Mandela effect, I would say about a year from when I first heard about it. And for me, the Mandela effect was just an extension of that spiritual experience. And I see the Mandela effect as a tool to awaken people to what the end more of what is possible in this construct. I'm actually very grateful for the Mandela effect, because it's taken a lot of, I had a lot of for lack of a better word, grieving within my body, because a lot of people that I've interacted with didn't seem to understand, or even if they did, their attention span on these subjects would deviate very quickly. And I see the Mandela effect as something that's hooked people, because it's something that they get really excited about, and it's something that they can stick with, and it's a starting point for their own journey.
We got a question from Chad here. What was your first effect?
Well, I was just watching a video on YouTube, and it was talking about the mirror on the wall, and that one caught my eye and my ear. Magic mirror.
So when you found your first one, when you found that, was you like straight out, no, that's wrong, or were you more like, maybe something going on, not sure? How did you take that?
No, I knew that. I knew that one. That was obvious. Yeah, that one, the Jiffy. I remember it being Jiffy and Jif. And see, I remember it changing a long time ago, but I just never. I thought it was just like a product change. You know, when I was young, thought it was Jiffy. Now it says Jif, whatever. You know, the Star Wars one. I wasn't. I was more of a Trekkie, but not more of a Star Wars guy. But I've heard everybody saying that line, and then I end up watching that one episode, and I didn't hear what everybody said, and I just thought, well, maybe I, might not be the right episode. I don't know. I never paid that much attention to it until I watched I stumbled on a Mandela effect video, and then I seen all what they had to offer there.
Right. Gotcha. And so when you found the Mandela effect and you were tripped out about the mirror, whatnot, did you really do a lot of research trying to find out others, or was it like, okay, this is the one, that's it, I know it's real, and just kind of go on and start, study other stuff? What brought you kind of into really researching it?
No, I didn't really research it per se, due to my, like I said, the heightened part of my spiritual experience. What I seen was possible within that. Mandela effect didn't shock me at all. It just kind of reaffirmed it, backed it up. So,
so it wasn't like a complete system shock.
No, definitely wasn't. It was. It's just like you get excited. I got excited because it was like almost our hard evidence, to what I had from my experience, and when I can explain to an individual that maybe has had a little bit of experience themselves, or someone that hasn't had experience, I can use it as a tool to try to convey what I've learned internally. Because even though I've learned things, it's kind of hard to translate into language. So it's kind of more metaphorically, or giving examples, or kind of like this, kind of like that, and just trying to get someone else to understand it. And I've used this analogy a lot. It's like it's trying to explain love to someone that's never loved. And you could use all these words and descriptions, but until that person is loved, they're not going to really fully understand what you mean. And it's kind of like that, going through these experiences. So. Yeah, that's how it was for me.
Gotcha. All right, Michele, you've done a lot of spiritual research and whatnot, and I think you were like spiritual, like related before you got an ME. What about you, as far as what Captain said? Would you agree that it was just confirmation, or how did that work with you?
Well, yeah, I had this amazing awakening, I would call it, in 2012, and then, reading the Bible changed. I put it down one day, I picked it up the next day, and now Caesar's image is on the penny. And, I got this tingly feeling all through my body. It resonated really hard with me. And then the next thing I know, I'm seeing changes everywhere. At first, it was a little shocking and disorienting. But there was so many of you guys out putting out information about, and so I saw that it was happening to so many other people, that it brought a lot of comfort to see that, okay, I have not just lost my mind. This stuff is happening and other people are seeing it too. So then the effects, it just started becoming more of an interest. Like, what's changed now? Instead of, oh my gosh, that harsh, or not, it wasn't really harsh. It was like this tingly feeling, this energetic tingle that, went on when I had that one. And it was through a biblical change. And why it resonated so hard with me is because I had the physical book in my hand. It wasn't something I was watching on the computer or anything like that, which could change over time. It was my physical Bible that I was reading out of, and I would go back a verse, when I, put the place marker in, put it away, open it up the next day, I back up a few, to get back into the context of what I was reading, and it changed. And, it was like, oh my goodness, what the world is this? And then I had people like you, Dark Wolf, people like Moneybags, people out there already putting this information, or, observing it. You know, I think of it, and you're right, more on the spiritual side, that our sixth sense is becoming aware, which heightens the senses in our body. That's why we have our ears ringing, because our ears are getting more in tune to our sixth sense. The awareness, being able to see these changes, also, you know, heightened awareness. You're able to see these things that could have possibly been going on the entire time, but we just weren't aware of it. And now we can actually see it. I do see that people that are in this community and seeing these amazing changes, they seem to have they're more open-minded. And I'm not trying to categorize people. What I'm trying to do is, in this community, I see more love, more patience with one another, listening to other people and their theories. It's instead of doing like, you know, as Captain was talking about how, and I've seen it the same way, everything was divide and conquer. There was always just polar opposites, you know, and you either picked one side or the other. Well, this is kind of like bringing everybody in on a common ground, and it's an amazing thing to witness, where we're all coming together and listening to each other. And, you know, some people are digging in and doing the science to try to figure it out. Some people are just presenting the changes, but it brings comfort to so many people, especially if they just pop awake to this awareness. It can be a frightening thing. It can. But
so let me stop you right there. When you did finally pop awake to it, were you the one sitting on the couch curled up like a ball, rocking back and forth, going, this ain't real, this ain't real, this ain't real? Or did you like embrace it and grab on and what is this? Or how did you how did you deal with it?
In 2012, when I had that, what I call a spiritual awakening, Holy Spirit baptism, I would say that I was curled up in the ball going, because I thought everything looked upside down and inverted. By the time that the Mandela thing started coming into view, that was around 2015. So it was more of a fascination and a more of like what I would call a proof of what I was going through on my journey of awakening. It was like a manifestation, so to speak, of, you know, what is going on within each and every one of us. And it was, like I said, it was like a tingly feeling that I felt. So in the corner in a ball going, what the heck is going on? That was in 2012 when I had this, what I call Holy Spirit baptism. And that's where I realized that the religious background that I had, they would say, you go for the Holy Spirit baptism and you're done. I have to say, my friend, that's the beginning. I mean, it's a complete renewal. So when the Mandela effect came out, to me, I looked at it as a miracle or manifestation, or a way of God sending us signs, to, you know, and those who can see, and that's also in scripture too, the eyes to see, the ears to hear. You know,
well, it used to be. It's not anymore.
I'm sorry, sweet. Oh, it's not in the Bible anymore?
No, not like that. Eyes to see and ears to hear is not. It's referenced in general, but the eyes to see and ears to hear, that line is nowhere in that book.
Thank goodness it's sewed into my heart. Did you know that I really, I'll look into my Bible, but there's so much that's changed from how I remembered it. You know, I went through the, what do you call it, confirmation, where you study for the 3 years and then you go through the ceremony of confirmation when you're a teenager, and you got to memorize all these verses and all these scriptures. And I have to tell you, even the Lord's Prayer has changed. And, you know, that was what zinged me the most. And that's what kind of has led me to that religion is a form of bondage, in that when Christ says, come out of her, my people, he means come out of all of them, not just that this church is holy and righteous and they're going to, you know, be raptured out of here. He means come out of that, get rid of those filters and open your eyes and see what's going on. I just think it's absolutely fascinating. And I completely admire people like you who are putting this information out, doing the research, you have such an open mind that you'll take in any theory and follow it through, whether it leads to a dead end or not. you still are willing to listen to it, apply it, and work it out to figure it out. And I think that's great.
Well, thank you so much. That means a lot, because right now, I'll be the first to tell you, I don't know the cause yet. So anybody comes up with a theory or an idea that I haven't thought of, I'm happy to hear it. I'll research it to the end, like you said, and if I come up with nothing, cool, but it may lead me onto a whole nother path that never was considered before. And, I like that. Anybody who's got ideas or theories, I definitely am open to hear them. And like you said, the community itself is so awesome as far as being open-minded and considerate and forgiving and really tight-knit. One of us gets cut, a lot of us bleed, and that's really awesome. Let me go on back to Captain for a minute here. Captain, have you had a lot of personal Mandela effects and things like that? Has it ramped up since you began?
Yeah, so it was one recently. It's just small. It's not major, but it's small. And it had to do with a group of people. And there was a car that was driving by, and some remember that car driving by, stopping, and then driving off. And a few of us, only a few of us, remember the car driving by about 60, 70 miles an hour. And there's no way the car could have stopped. And so, and I had a friend ask me that question, because everybody was saying, he says, man, what did you see? And I told him, he goes, man, that's exactly what I seen. The car was going so fast, there's no way it stopped. So that was, and I just laughed it off, and he was like, what do you think happened? And I told him both. And so he's like, all right. So, that was one of the ones recently that I really paid attention to. But I think it happens a lot that we don't really pay attention to it. It might have a lot to do with some debate discussions that people might have. They seen one thing one way, they seen it the other. They might argue about it, but hey, it might happen both ways.
Okay. And so that was your first real big personal ME, or had this been a while into having, dealing with the Mandela effect, or what?
Well, something close to the Mandela effect, which I think I discussed with you prior, was I know when I was going through my experience, there was a point in time where the pendulum got pushed all the way, let's say, to one side, and it was a peaceful environment after that, living, and it seemed to work out throughout that night, and then the next morning everything seemed to reset and rebalance, almost like pushing the pendulum too far was almost not allowed. The only way I could think of is that you push it one way and it's going to come back just as hard the other way, the same momentum. So if everything was all hunky-dory, everybody's all love, then it swings back, and then we could all imagine what could happen after that. So the construct might have needed to reset itself there to let the pendulum swing just slowly across the border each side. And that's how I see the Mandela effect. When I seen it, I kind of just related it to that situation.
And it goes right back to what we began with the emotion thing. Like you said, the pendulum swings back one way and then back the other, and we see, and back to manifesting too, because we do give off this extra emotion. If we are filtering all the other emotions coming in from the consciousness, then if we have that extra energy within us, if you will, manifesting would be just a little easier for our team opposed to everybody else. You know what I mean?
Right. I get that. I used to, there's a movie that I watched that kind of brung a little bit towards it. I know flat earthers will love this movie. It's called Dark City, and I would just recommend watching it and see the tuning that they do. And I think it's somewhat like that, but that we have the ability to do that. We just got to maybe not in an extreme way as that, but maybe so, maybe even better, but in a certain sense that, and if you noticed in that movie when they're tuning, it comes from their third eye area of their head.
Gotcha. I've not seen the movie myself, I'm gonna be honest. So I have to go do a little bit more research now and watch a movie. That's what's so fun. Some research can just be literally listening to a radio show or watching a movie or or who knows what. On the personal ME thing, Michele, have you had a lot of more personal Mandela effects, and has it ramped up since you began?
Well, Brad Pitt has, he's been one of my faves for a very long time. I loved him in Legends of the Fall, and as soon as I saw that movie, yeah, I mean, ooh, what a hottie. Okay, so I watched just about everything that he's in, and I have to tell you, this interview with a vampire, A was red, completely red. It was not, he's not the only vampire. There's several vampires in that, but he's the vampire, a vampire that happens to be interviewed. Another one, Sex in the City. I watched that show religiously. I love that show, but it's talking about these ladies, single ladies in the city and their sex life and the difficulties in such a big city, all that kind of drama. It's not end the city. The city's not end having sex. It's sex in the city. The new name makes absolutely no sense. So yeah, I've had some that personally I like the old way better. They don't make any sense, but I reserve judgment on it because I know that it's leading us somewhere wonderful. But those are a couple. That's just a couple of examples of things that I'm like, what, and the We Are the Champions. I mean, I'm singing the song and I'm like holding my breath, waiting to say that last line, and I could have suffocated myself waiting to say. So yeah, so I think you kind of get it. That I'm definitely affected. The Mandela effect. I am definitely affected. So.
What about the more personal? Like I get, that was kind of personal to you because you watched the show or read the books. But what about things that have happened like around you? Like maybe, the keys disappearing or a sign only in your city changing or any kind of real personal things, anything like that?
Well, I've had the items that you place disappear on me, if you're asking that. Yes. And I actually will have to stop. And then what I do to find them is I clear my mind and allow myself to be led to where they're at. And they're always in a very odd place. I don't know how they would get there. Like the keys to my car were underneath my pillow on my bed. Well, I latch them to the side of my purse. I have one of those key rings that like guys will latch them to their belt. I have one of those big, latch type. And the hoops on the side of my purse, I just latch them there. They're always there, easy to find. They weren't there. And I was needing to go somewhere. And I'm like, okay, what happened? Where did they go? So I had to stop. I did all that retracing of my steps and everything. Then I finally just blanked my mind. I'm like, okay, where are my keys? I was led right to them. They were under my pillow. How they got there, see, now it's only me and my husband here. He sleeps during the day and works at night. So there's no way that he took my keys and hid them from me under my pillow. He wasn't even here to do that. So weird stuff like that happens all the time. Now I just kind of stop. I just stop and don't stress on it. And then I get led right to whatever the item is that seems to be misplaced. It's weird. It does. It gives you that deja vu feeling, like, like that Matrix feeling. Was that the same cat, the same black cat? Something
Right.
just changed in the Matrix. That's the kind of feeling that I get with that. But, as time goes on, even that becomes like a natural thing. And you just kind of go with it. Or you could drive yourself crazy trying to, retrace your steps and think that, logically, this is where they've always been. This is where, they've got to be right there. I would have never looked under my pillow, Dark Wolf. I would have never even thought to look underneath my pillow for my car keys. I mean, it's not even something comfortable to sleep on. It's a big old hunkin' wad of keys. I'll tell you, either I sleepwalked to put them under there and I had to, put myself into a sleep type state to be able to find them again, or I don't know how they got there.
When I go to looking for stuff like that, I will, if I can't find it in the normal places, I will literally start checking places that there's no way it could even fit. And people laugh at me, why are you doing that? Well, You got a better idea? Like, I've searched everywhere they should be. Maybe if I search where they shouldn't, the darn things will pop up, and normally they do, you know. Or when you search 15 times that same spot, the 16th time, there it sits.
Or you let go of it. You just let go of it for a minute, and then they come. Just same like if I have a computer glitch or an electronic problem, I'm trying to figure out, I just walk away for a little while, it sorts itself out. I don't know how. I don't even care how. It just does. So
keep radiating energy and radiating emotion off of us. And especially electronic equipment, if we're that powerful, if we are radiating that energy more so than the common person, as far as the emotional signature or bioelectrical, biochemical signature coming off of us, that would explain why even I have some electronic problems when I get aggravated and upset sometimes.
Yeah,
Capt,
have you noticed that your aura right now, and it's beautiful. Sorry, Captain. Sorry.
Captain, have you noticed that too? When you get upset and aggravated and stuff, like electronics and things like that start screwing up around you?
All the time. All the time. And it's not even that. Even if I have a certain mission and I'm going to do something, like I was trying to go get this business license, and sometimes there's barriers in the way to get through. And, I get to the front of the line, and all of a sudden, all the computer systems shut down. And it's like, yeah. And they're like, well, you might want to come back tomorrow, so we're not sure how this is going to go. And I know if I'm come back tomorrow, I already know once I leave, it's going to turn back on. And I come back tomorrow, it's probably the same thing. So I said, no, I'll sit and wait. I stayed there about 15 minutes, so everything came back up. That was one instant. I had one where it worked out in my favor. I was at the grocery store. And right when I got in line, all the systems went down. They swiped my card. All the systems froze and all the computers. Manager came out trying to reset everything. They ended up letting me go with my food, so it looked like it might have went through because they already had swiped it. So I was like, all right, cool. So they just ended up letting me go with the food. I get my bank account. Charge goes on there 5-6 times, goes off 5-6 times. Okay, cool. Got the first groceries for free. So that worked out in my favor. A lot of glitches, especially when we're on Discord or and certain subjects that doesn't seem that it's not, for lack of a better word, they don't want suggesting that not want to talk about, not to get that out yet. It'll be a problem. Sometimes I'll get a ear ring in certain ears, high pitch that'll disrupt my thinking, things like that, to try to suggest that maybe I shouldn't. It might be not that person's time right now to know this information. But for me, those type of things, I don't. I use them as suggestions and not as something and saying, "Hey, do this," because if I do that, then it's like relinquishing control to something that and I like to be sovereign. I like to discern the stuff for myself. So for me, instead of me following what they have to say, I use them as a tool, and we could work together.
Have you found this trend when it comes especially to religious items, or is it just across the board, any topic?
Across the board, any topic. It just matters if it's, it's, yeah, it could be any topic. Mostly it has to do with spirituality and some of the experiences maybe I have been through, or something like that. A lot of times it might be if somebody's really, really early in awakening, maybe a little bit too much for them, which I've learned because I was a little irritated with it at first because I didn't, I want everybody to know, and I don't like restricting information from people because I feel it's a manipulation and things of that nature. But I've come to understand that it could cause fear in people if they haven't conquered that fear yet. Some things that I have to say, I have to watch, or I have to watch how I say it but make sure that I get my point across in a way that they can understand. So I tend to try to hear some of their experiences and how they discern what they have, and then I try to just work with them there and not just dump everything on their shoulders.
Right. Let me ask you this. When in the community, it's kind of, split down the middle, kind of like my brain as far as this goes. Half the people say we're shifting timelines, there's multiple timelines, this is what's going on. The other half of the people say it's a single timeline, things are changing in reality itself. This is what's going on. Thank you, Michele. Got that. This is what's going on. What do you tend to take a side on that? Like I said, I try to stay on either side. Half the time I tell you it's one reality. Half the time I tell you we're sliding through multiples. What is your take on that?
Well, like I explained before, it's hard to explain what's really going on in the English language. So I would, in my opinion, I would say a little bit of both. It matters how you want to describe it. Either or. I mean, I could see the pendulum swing that I talked about. I could see that. Was that a reset, or was that me shifting dimensions? Maybe in that dimension, I accomplished something. We accomplished something as a group, and we accomplished that love and got that construct. And hey, switch to another dimension and do it here. It's possible. I don't know. I would just say all of the above. I would say it's just a way of interpreting it, the way you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, half the time I'll say, "Oh yes, we're sliding, we're jumping dimensions," and I'll look at the evidence again. Well, no. I got a pile of evidence that says we're in one dimension and everything's just changing around us. Well, no. I got evidence that suggests it's both, and we're just manifesting different dimensions. We're all shifting. I'm just, I'm curious what different people's takes are. Michele, what's your take on it? Single, double, multiple, ever-ending, what?
Well, I don't know if you've been able, I know you're super busy, but I have been putting out the theory of the quantum entanglement about us being the flower of life and how we are quantumly entangled in each circle that branches out from us, how our affect affects them, but the same with theirs, their affect affects us. And that, people can be walking on several different timelines in and out, depending on who you're meeting up with, what group you're with. You kind of are merging into a oneness at that point, and then can spread out and go into your own. I believe it is infinite, the infinite possibilities. I am not about to limit anything. I am open to any theory and any answers that people may come to. Of course, I have my own, which is what I'm sharing with you now. But I have to say, the picture that is behind me, I took in my backyard. As you can see, I have beautiful blue skies with puffy white clouds. I'm in California, and I know Captain said he is too. I used to have a checkerboard as my sky. I do not have that anymore, my friend. It never happens anymore. It's on a very rare occasion, depending on the situations and circumstances and possibly the buffering from other people I encounter. I may see one in the sky, but then boom, it's gone. And I'm back to seeing beautiful skies again. We've been testing that theory out, and I've heard from two other people, and we've been testing this out, and we all three of us have come to the same conclusion on this so far. After the broadcast, I will definitely share with you what we are doing on that level to see if it's something that you may want to test out yourself, and possibly Kat, and see what your results are, and then you can come up with your conclusion. It's not something we want to open up to everyone yet.
Right.
We as I explained,
I completely understand.
Right, and as I'm telling you, we're quantumly entangled. Some people can buffer other people, but the picture that I am in front of is actually shot in my backyard, and I also have been taking many shots. And if you look at my older videos I took on my phone, if you look at my skies, I've had nothing but puffy white clouds. And I remember when I was a kid, looking up at the clouds and, oh, that one's an angel. Oh, that one's a doggy. That little game we would play in the car rides and stuff, right? And then all of a sudden we could play tic-tac-toe up there. And I'm like, what? And now that doesn't happen anymore. I don't see that anymore. So we walk into these different paradigms, and it just depends on the people you're around, on where they're operating, and Mel has a very good term for it. She calls it entrainment. Whether you get entrained to their level at where they're at, or they get pulled up to your level. And I'm not saying that there's a higher, lower spectrum in this. What I'm saying is, if there's 10 people there and they're operating in one frequency, let's use that as a frequency, you're operating in another. Well, when you go around those 10 people, more than likely your frequency is going to come and match up with theirs, and then you will then visually see what is going on, okay? But I think as time is progressing here, more people are being lifted up. They're feeling the symptoms, what they're calling ascension symptoms, because the more people becoming self-aware and applying these very gifts that we've been born with, they're lifting up other people around them, putting them into entrainment the other direction where we won't be playing tic-tac-toe in the sky anymore. Nobody will. Does that
I've
make
noticed
sense?
that over the last couple weeks, we've had a very big decline, even in my area, of chemtrails and things like that. And Suso asked me when I was talking to him off air about it. He's like, "Well, you don't just look up, look at every time you go outside." Yeah, I kind of actually do. I'm tracking it. So yeah, I literally every time I go outside, I make it a point to look up and see what's there or not there every day. Every time I go out.
I've seen mountain cats videos, the clouds that you guys are observing in that area. They're absolutely stunning. I'm actually seeing sigils and stuff in the sky that I am absolutely blown away by the captures that she gets. Lee and his magic window. My gosh, you guys, we're seeing some amazing things in the skies, and all we want to do is share that with everybody so they can partake in that. There's nothing, that's not a bad thing to want everybody to have clean air and beautiful skies, right?
Absolutely not. And for those who don't know, Lee's Magic Window is absolutely amazing. It's a channel called Disintegral. I don't have a chance to go grab the link right this second. I will go ahead and type his name out. He comes in every now and again. And what he does is he's got a camera set up where he literally just watches the sky all the time. So, and he's right in London. So you ever want to watch the London sky, check him out. It is absolutely amazing. Martha said she saw a double rainbow today. Captain, weather phenomenon. Have you seen a whole lot of crazy weather phenomena in your area, chemtrail aside?
Oh yeah, the other day we were talking about how emotion affects the weather. How the construct came at me. I was kind of a little irritated and had to channel my willpower and my steadfastness, and I seen clouds rolling and a little thunderstorm came in real quick, and then went away. So, and that. Yeah, then my mother was like, "Oh, was saying to me, that's what like I caused it, I don't, I wouldn't say that, but I think we do affect it, our subconscious as a collective, as well as with nature around and what may be needed in that area at one time, and so." Like I was talking to Bob about, and Bob was saying, and that'd be a good idea not to be selfish in that area. If one farmer needs water to water his crop, and then someone wants sunshine so they can set out their pool, it's kind of be selfish to try to manifest that sunshine.
Absolutely. When I moved out here across the country, I moved from the south, and I was expecting, heavy, heavy snowy weather. I moved to the Pacific Northwest up here, and I expected it to just be awful. I got up here and it went all of a sudden mild. They had the mildest winter they've had in God knows how long. It was just really, really weak. But in the South, they suddenly got a heck of a snow dump out of the blue. So, I always joke, sorry, guys, I needed to, I acclimate to the weather up here. I had to switch it up real quick. My apologies.
If you don't mind, I'd like to go back to a question that you asked me, a personal Mandela effect. It sort of was, but sort of wasn't. I got injured where I had got my lung punctured and it grazed the water. It punctured the water sac of my heart and then cut through the corner of my stomach. And in that, I survived. But in the Discord group, we're discussing it. I hear people talking the Mandela effect about the heart move, and that if where the position that people were saying the heart was, I most likely wouldn't have survived. And so that was interesting to me. So the only thing I'm trying to do is point down, okay, I'm trying to track down what point did that change happen, or did people realize that change happened? I haven't really been able to narrow that down. People just said that they remember it differently. So that's maybe a more personal, very personal one. I don't remember where the heart was. I'm not a person that studied anatomy, so.
Well, actually, I had studied anatomy for the simple fact my mother was a CNA for almost 20 years. And when she began studying to be a CNA, us kids would help her study and help her learn different things, which by osmosis, we kind of learned different things too, or by proxy. And I always found it intriguing, just little knowledge pieces that I never figured would mean a whole lot of nothing until now. One would have never thought until now that all these little trivia facts that we knew suddenly become bunk because the trivia has changed. Like the kidneys. You would kidney punch somebody in martial arts, you would punch them in the lower back. Kidney belts go around the lower back. I don't understand why, because the kidneys are about halfway up the body now. So
yeah, my brother kidney punched me a few times when I was a kid, and that was low into the back, and it hurt. So
right.
Yeah, so
it makes no sense.
Kidney punch, you know where the kidney is.
The only thing that makes sense to me is like maybe an intestine punch now. Maybe they should rename it the intestine punch.
Yes. A gut punch. It's just a gut punch now, guys.
A reverse gut punch. Here we go. A reverse gut punch.
Oh my gosh.
So starting with Captain Lee, and I'll come back to Michele on this question too. Captain Lee, have you had any near-death experiences or death? Because a lot of people claim, death could be a catalyst. I've not had any that I could think of, but have you had any near-death experiences before you found, or maybe right before you woke up to it?
Right before, I would say I was in situations that could have been very dangerous, and that it seemed like the construct was collapsing around me, and that a lot of people meant me harm. During that experience, I wouldn't say right before it. Of course, the lung puncture, the heart sac, and the stomach was definitely an experience, but that was after I've already awakened and during. I know when I was a child, I went down a tunnel slide, and back in those days, I'm not going to say how old I am, but I'm up there. About 40, 37, I think, around that age.
I think.
That counting. 40 and 80, so
do the math. Captain, don't worry about it. I'm 21 and holding.
Yeah, born in 1980, so do the math. So yeah, I was, the
experience.
It's just a baby.
Yeah, I got a lot of white whiskers though. The play equipment was made out of more metal, and there was a piece of metal. There was a tunnel slide, and there was a piece of metal. Someone pulled up. It wasn't done. Someone intentionally did it. Somebody, I don't know, but it was twisted up to the point. Instead of being flat with the slide, it was pointed up. So when I went to grab the tube and swung down, back of my head hit that and just embedded in the back of my head, split my whole head open on the back. Yeah, and so yeah, it was pretty bad. I got it stitched up. I don't know if that was a life death, but it definitely was an experience for me then.
Wow. Like, sometimes I don't like being so empathic. That hurts just to hear.
Yeah, I felt it.
To hear about it. My goodness.
Yeah, I felt it just now again as well.
Michele, moving on to you. Have you had any past life experiences or NDEs or anything prior to finding the Mandela effect?
I don't know if I want to tell you because I'm afraid that you'll feel my pain.
No worries. As long as I don't get to feel it for extended amounts of time, I'm okay.
Okay, shield yourself up. When I was 15, well, I've had several near-death experiences. When I was about 5. We won't get into that one, but I'll tell you about the one when I was 15, and then I'll tell you about the one that happened in 2006. When I was 15 years of age, I was in a crosswalk. I was a pedestrian, and in California, and Captain knows there's, could be pretty heavy traffic. And we were walking in the crosswalk, and the cars had stopped, but then there's that suicide lane in the center. So I got to the middle of the street, and it was my best friend's birthday, and I said, we need to hurry up and get across the street you know, so we don't get hit and we're holding up all these cars. Just as I said that, somebody bolted through the suicide lane and plowed into me. I flew up and out of the crosswalk and cracked my head against the ground. They found that I had a fractured skull, but told my folks I was just in shock and were trying to send me home. And my parents said, she doesn't know who we are. We're not taking her home. I got shipped over to another hospital, and you know, it had been about 8 hours since the accident. My parents went to get a bite to eat, thinking I'm just in shock. That's what the other hospital said. Well, they did what they call a CAT scan and couldn't get a hold of my parents, got a hold of a judge, got a court order to immediately operate. What had happened was it caused an internal bleed. My brain was pushed back to the back of my head. The front was a huge blood clot. And if I would have went home, I would not be here today. But I woke up. I really wasn't conscious of what was going on until about 6 days after the accident. And the first thing I asked for was my hairbrush. And my mom's like, you've got a cute little hat on. You don't need your brush. Because I was 15. I had hair down halfway down my back, and I'm female. What do you think, you know? Well, I ended up having 48 staples in my head. A few rounds looked like a few rounds with Rocky. My face was blown out. And I found that little drawer thing that you have in the hospital. And when I opened it up, there was a little mirror in it. But when I first opened it up, there was this bag. And my hair was in this bag inside that drawer. So they kept it for me. And then I pulled up the mirror thing and freaked out because I looked like the Bride of Frankenstein. But what I found out was the surgery that had to take place. Not only the fact that, the pressure on my brain was terrible. I didn't know. I was trying to talk, and it was like nobody could understand me, and I couldn't understand what anybody was saying. That's about the extent of what I remember. Now, I had an experience. I was sitting on a log, and I was talking to somebody, and I was shown like a rapid succession of images, and for some reason, I was told that I could stay. And then there was a picture that came out, and I saw this picture, and something happened. It was going to affect somebody's life in such a traumatic way that it would have destroyed them had I went ahead and went on. And I don't know how this happened, because I wanted to stay where I was at. The unconditional love that I was in, it was beautiful. I couldn't do this to this person. I couldn't have their life turn out this way. And as soon as I saw that, bam, I was back in my body, and I felt all of the pain and everything. Because I felt no pain, no nothing when I was in that space. And I found out that to even perform that surgery, they have to slow your blood down. They have to cool your blood down to stop it, because they have to take a saw and bring it open. Well, anybody knows head wounds bleed out very, very quickly, let alone have your skull opened up and remove the blood clot and try to clamp it off. So basically, they had to cool my blood down, stop it, basically stop my heart, stop it from pumping, hurry to the surgery, and get me back going again. So that's amazing to even find out, which they didn't tell me that, how traumatic it was. I found that out much, much later. Second one that I had was in 2006. I was driving my truck. It was girls' night out. I drew the short end of the stick. I was the sober driver. Well, we were leaving from the club. My two friends were loose as a goose, laughing, having a great time. And I was stopped at the stop sign. A car was coming, and this guy came from behind, and he was very intoxicated. And he came up. They by the markings and by how far he pushed my truck, they gauged him about 65 miles an hour without hitting his brakes. Slammed straight into the back of my truck. I locked up my arms and, broke my neck and my back. So I had to have some surgeries there. And guess what? Still here. And in 2012, I was about to get into a scooter chair. I was walking on a cane, totally becoming, incapacitated. And since all this has started happening, no cane, I'm swimming, I'm feeling much better, cut back significantly on any kind of pain management, because I want to be clear-headed. It's a renewing of our mind, and my body is responding to it. So guys, if you're going through traumatic stuff, realize that, you know, you can get better. I do plan on making a video. I have the scooter chair. I qualified for it. I didn't have to pay anything for it. It's got the leg lifts and everything on it. That's how bad off I was. And here I am today talking with you guys, swimming daily, walking, and enjoying my life. So I hope that was the answers that you were looking for. But yes, I'm still here. Whether I died and I woke up here, I'm not sure about that, Dark Wolf. You know, I could have died in those realities and popped over here. Not quite sure on that. But
all right, there's the answer we were getting towards right there. That's what we were headed towards. Do you think it could be the catalyst to pop in and out of realities if that be the case?
Traumatic events I do think, can bring people into different situations. But I did not have a traumatic event happen in 2012 when I woke up, besides the wake up. And there wasn't anything, no danger or no life-threatening thing that happened in 2015 when I became aware of the Mandela effect. So it's just an amazing time, you know, and I often think about these things, you know, in the religious background that I had, we're waiting for this rapture, so to speak, right? Well, what are we expecting it to be like if we are raptured, right? How do we know that we weren't raptured? What are we expecting to go on? You know, and also it's been spoken of for a millennia that this time, that this new age in which we're coming out of Pisces and going into Aquarius, the golden age, the age of restoration, the age of knowing who and what we are. And we're learning who and what we are, and we're implementing it into our daily lives. But we have to learn, you know, and then the gifts are stirred up, and then you go after the one that's passionate to your heart, and then you learn how to apply it in your life. Just like my skies, just these simple little tests, you know, and we're also told in the scriptures to test all things. And you're testing all things to come up to a conclusion with the left half of the brain and the right half of the brain equally, instead of lifting up the left half higher and pushing down the right half. We're bringing everything into balance, so to speak. So I hope that's the answers your question. So to the best of my ability.
Absolutely. That definitely answered our question. Thank you so much. Yeah, that answered the question and a couple others I wasn't even able to get to. So yeah, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
If I may add, yes. there was a experience. I'm not sure. I was very inebriated. I was probably about 18, and I went to sleep. And I'm not sure. I wouldn't call it a dream. It was a point in time that I just knew everything. Like I knew everything, and then I felt like I was coming back awake or going back. I started just sucking it all away from me, and then I woke up still highly inebriated. I mean, I was throwing up and everything, but I was really pissed because I was trying to figure out, you know, get that information back. So that may be the answer to the question as well. If there was maybe I might have had poisoning then and then left and came back. I guess it's a possibility.
Gotcha. Off topic or a whole nother subject here. What would you say to the people that say we're crazy, we're making it all up? And I'm going to start with Michele and we'll move to Captain this time. We're making it all up. It's in our heads. We're confabulating, which is a word that I kind of killed finally in the communities. But we're confabulating. We're false memorying. What would you say to those people without being too in their face, if you will?
Well, you said to start with me, right, on this one?
Yeah.
Of course. Give me the hardball question. Well,
what I'm good at.
One of the things that, you know, that I'm actually experimenting with now is, instead of trying to, because we know the only person that you can only change one, and that is yourself. And if I was able to change somebody or lift their spirits in some way, if I could just walk past them and pull them up, just like with the entrainment we were talking about, or the morphogenic fields, that you pull them up, you know, in just a gentle way of waking them up, that they become self-aware. I don't think that badgering people and trying to force them into believing your way is the only way is going to work anymore. That's the old paradigm thinking, because we're understanding how unique and beautiful and divine each and every one of us are, and how, you know, we have so much to offer to each other. And so if somebody is to tell me I'm confabulating, or, you know, that it's all in my head, I would have to say, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to kindly disagree, because my experiences are telling me something different. And, you know, I wish for you to have the same experiences, and hopefully soon you will. But, you know, it's okay for you to feel the way you do, and let me be okay with feeling the way that I do. And let's just agree to disagree and walk away with love.
Yeah, I would agree with Michele. You know, I wouldn't knock them for it. I wouldn't down talking them, not holding any grudges against them, because they haven't experienced what I've experienced, and I only know from what I experienced. And so, you know, I understand why they might have that opinion, especially if they've only there's, you know, haven't gone past a certain level or a certain stage, or haven't gotten any at all. And so, you know, in due time for them. And that's what I would say. I wouldn't necessarily say I want everybody to go through the experiences that I've went through.
I know. I got you on that one. But you know what? I don't think somebody could have talked me into it. See, I just look at it that way. It has, because I've experienced it. Right. I know. But if I hadn't experienced it, somebody tried to tell me this, I'd be like, huh? What?
Well, yeah,
you know?
I seen. Well, the reason why I say that is because I've heard others, Michele as well, that have had the same conclusion through going through a different experiences, and did not have to go through go down such a bumpy road as maybe I did, but I believe they're tuned. Yeah, they're tuned. I think it's tuned to each specific person and the experiences they've been through, and so it has to come to them in a way that they can digest it and they can understand. And for me, I'm kind of a stubborn person, and so I think it had to slap me hard to, hey, looky here, you know. And I don't think it might necessarily have to go that far for every person. And I know people that have come to the same conclusion on different subjects that had a way more peaceful way of coming to that conclusion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I agree. We need to stay patient with those that really say, we've lost it. We've lost the plot. We're off our rockers. We've had a little bit too much sauce. We just really aren't getting it. I think we need to be patient with these people, because even if we just set the seeds and say, well, what do you remember this? What do you remember that? Perhaps they'll be walking down the street 3 days later contemplating, going, you know what? That does seem different, or I do remember that a little differently. Or, you know, even though they put on a front in front of us, don't always take that as their final answer, because you might set that little seed of doubt in their mind and have them looking everywhere for things that just don't quite fit, and maybe they'll have those experiences again.
And it does seem like it is more gentle. I agree with you, Captain, that, you know, we could say the pathfinders, the ones that trudged it out first, you know, it goes into that again. We're talking about morphogenic fields, quantum entanglement, goes back into the one consciousness, and then it goes out. I often talk about that 100 monkey. They're washing their potatoes in the water, and then all of a sudden all the monkeys are washing their potatoes in the water. There's something to that, and then it comes out, because that was one of the things that I've asked for, is that this not be so hard on other people. Let them have these beautiful experiences and lose those filters. A lot of the problems that I had with mine was filters. It was in my own head. I was my own worst enemy. So I had to do inner battles, inner work, to get rid of a lot of these prejudging and these elect and select and all that garbage, all that useless information had to go to make room for this new heart, this new renewing of the mind. It's a beautiful thing, and it's just amazing how we all kind of come together, you know, and we're in this together, and it's become, even though we've had our issues in the beginning, but in any growth process, we're going to have our old habits are going to come in at first as we are slowly sloughing those things off and realizing that they don't serve us anymore. And we're coming into a new way of dealing with things with each other, which is with patience, kindness, listening to one another, and broadening. And, you know, just from listening to somebody else's testimony, it broadens your perspective. If you're able to grow from the wisdom somebody's showing you, good for you. Maybe you're a little more thick-headed, like me, where I had to experience it myself. And that's okay too. But we're going to all come into the same understanding and then start applying it into our life, aware, self-aware. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I'm just excited that we've had the blessing, you know, to experience both paradigms. We got to experience the duality in Pisces and then dawning into this new age of Aquarius. The Mayans had that countdown calendar. I think there's something to that. Then we had all the signs in the sky that would go with the biblical. It's like all the different carvings in all the different places, you know, they all pointed to this time that, you know, generations and generations ago have been waiting for this time. And here we are living in it. And we're not crazy. Yeah, I'm more level-headed now than I've ever been. I hope I don't come across crazy. Well, maybe I'm crazy.
Who in life is really normal? What is normal?
You know what? The lunatics of today are the geniuses of tomorrow. Just remember that, guys.
Well, I gotta say, when it comes to Mandela effect, I don't even think crazy should be a vocabulary word anymore. You're talking about something that is completely illogical by definition. So when somebody starts out, well, this might sound crazy, dude, do you realize where you're at? You're talking about Mandela effect. Crazy isn't even an option at this point.
No, and you know we're and it's really we're making headway on making logical sense of an illogical understanding. And who knows, Dark Wolf, this could have been going on the entire time. We just weren't aware of it. But now we're becoming aware of it because as we are getting stirred up, our sight is enhanced, our hearing is enhanced. People complain of ringing in the ears all the time. You know, your senses are enhanced. But we always are taught about the 5 senses. I am waiting for a day when it's the 6th senses that we're talking about, all 6 of our senses that we operate in. Wow. And that'll be the common thing that is talked about and taught about. You know, what a beautiful understanding that would be.
Oh, absolutely. Wouldn't that be amazing if we had those type of abilities accessible to us at all times, not just read or meditate or whatever. Go ahead, Capt.
Yeah, I would also say, you know, to people, you know, don't believe me. Do your research. It's all about you doing your research and finding out for yourself. I could just whatever I say may spark something within you, or when you're doing the research, you say, hey, that's what he said. Oh, that's what that guy said. And it's all about learning from yourself. So, you know, just use it as a reference. Put it in your back pocket and use it if you need to. If it comes up and you can put the dots together, you know, it's always it's trying to find that picture. You know, I believe we all have a piece of the puzzle, and once we all come together individually and come together as one, we could form that picture. We'll frame it, and hey, there we go.
I agree. I think each one of our experiences, because it's an experiential based thing, each one of our experiences, I really feel, gives a little piece of the puzzle. That's why I love listening to things like Michele's testimony she has on her channel, or you know, having people on here that give their testimonies and how it began for them and how it's affecting them. And, you know, you start to find correlations along the lines with all these different people and their stories, or not sometimes, either way.
That's why I love doing interviews with people, you know, because I may not resonate with everybody, but we're not at a time of competition. It's more about the message. And that's why, you know, when you start to fall off the list of the My Divine Family, you're going to have to come back on again, because what you do is unique and that will resonate with certain people. So you're going to be in my featured list always. But that's why, you know, certain people are going to need to come back and be re-interviewed, because It's not about me, and that's why I do these interviews, because I want people to be able to give their testimony of what's going on with them, talk about what they're putting out there, because that may resonate with somebody else that I may not be able to reach, or maybe it'll enhance my reach with them by also adding you to their repertoire. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I try to do the same thing on my channel is, I try to put an area for Mandela Effect resources or Mandela Effect channels that are like this or like that or whatever the case may be. I try to point people in that direction for my channel just as well as you do too. Let me ask you, starting with Michele this time again.
Hey, wait a minute, hold on. Hey, Captain, does it look like he has a list of questions like he planned on bringing us up on here like this spontaneously, but he's prepared? What's
the
your
universe
feeling?
works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, I think he suckered us.
It just so happens you come on the guy's show who has a gift for interviewing, as a natural art. So
yes, you are natural. That is true, and you're good at presentation when you present your evidence and stuff. There's abilities and talent in each of us, and they seem to just be shining out of us. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll stop messing with your show and go forward.
It's quite okay. You just segued perfectly into what I was going into, so no worries. I was actually going to ask. Somebody brought up earlier in the chat talking about how residuals cool and all, but is it really needed? Do we really need that anymore? And it begs the question: should we keep searching for effects? Should we be happy that we found anything at all? Is it important for those for people to have channels like that are just focused on effects, or what's your opinion on that?
Well, actually, Dark Wolf, I think, and I know that you're already doing this. The Mandela effect was good to look at, okay? But you're digging a little deeper and getting into the quantum, into the morphogenic fields, into you're putting the whole package together. So the Mandela effect and showing those. There's plenty of channels that do that, but your channel is more about branching out, testing things, which I still remember. We will talk about that control test that we are doing, because I think that you have a very blessed friend that is close by, and I think both of you together will get some amazing results, and I would just love to hear them. And maybe that's something, once that the evidence is in, that you may want to present on your channel, because that's what you do. You go into the science and the nuts and bolts of it and put it out in a digestible way for people to understand. But you're already doing that, my friend. You're already branching out into not just look at this, but you're going into how could this possibly happen? How is it affecting people? It's changing our bodies. It's changing the way we think. It's changing this. What is really going on? So I see that you're already heading in that direction and branching out. So, are you strictly a Mandela effect channel? No, you're really not. We float on the same streams that, and even they are branching out beyond just them. They'll throw in some, and that's all good.
Let me stop you right there. I guess what I'm asking is, are channels like Money Bags and other channels that focus on the effects, are they still important to be out there? Do we still need that? And not just us that have been in it for a while, but the whole community.
Okay. Newcomers, they're good for the newcomers.
There we go.
But then, they're going to move past that very quickly as the process is expedient for the newcomers. They're going through the process that maybe it's taken some of us 7 to 10 years. They're going through it in a year or 2 years. I mean, it's going very fast. So you're going to have their attention, but it may be only for a month. And then they're going to move on because they're going to want more. Well, Dark Wolf, you're offering some Mandela effect, and you're offering and more. So I think you're hitting the flavor and your rhythm, and it's natural to you. So for me, I'm looking for the and more. I still watch Mini Bags. Don't get me wrong. He comes up with some interesting stuff, but it's more for entertainment. It's not for understanding anymore. It's, I'm on the and more part. And, and people will get there, you know what I'm saying, in their time. And so, it's good to have those signposts out there. Yes, flash those signposts and acknowledge them.
That's what I was going for. I love how you, and I was hoping you'd bring it up here, how you used to, last couple of weeks you were saying, hold your post. Hold your post. We all have a post. Hold your post. So that's kind of what I was going toward. Moneybags has his post. Scarab has his post. I have my post and theories. You have your post and testimonies. We all have our place in the effect. And I do think that it is important for those, those channels to be there for that. Captain, what do you think on the whole thing? Do you think it's important for the newcomers to have a place to go look at the effects and kind of work their way up into theories and whatnot, or are you just tired of it? What do you think?
Yeah, they're when they search, they will find. You'll notice the video will pop up on your recommendations. It'll take you where you need to go. If you really seek, you shall find. You got to listen to these little turns. Where you have a will, there's a way. These aren't just out there. These mean something. And once you digest it, like love, what I was talking about before, you'll understand. You'll understand. You'll understand, and you'll overstand it. And that's how I see it. It's going to come to you if you seek.
If you seek, absolutely. And then, again, like I said, I agree. Everybody has their own post. We all have what we're good at. Moneybags, he's doing me a bigger favor than I think he could ever realize, and I've mentioned it to him 100 times. When he does these voting videos, that is probably my cleanest pool of evidence I have. If I see there's an effect that majority of people agree that's an effect, well, that's on the definite list. If it's a split, that's on the maybe list. And if it's a no, then it's definitely on the no list. It really helps determine a clean data pool of evidence to look at when I'm studying just the effects themselves in all the different theories. So I think he holds a very, very important, very wonderful post, as well as each of us do. Captain, do you have a Mandela Effect channel, or what is your channel like?
My channel is music. I do hip-hop. And I talk about the experiences, especially what I have on there now is when I went through my higher part experience, I kind of translated it through there. At the time, when I was writing these songs, I wasn't really fully digesting the whole experience. I was still testing, but it definitely can. If one has the ears and the eyes, they can definitely translate what I'm saying in there, and it's typed in. You see my name on there. I'm sure you can search it, or we could drop it in the link. And yeah, it's nothing.
You've already been dropping your link, huh?
Yeah, we're definitely
dropping for that a long time ago.
I might plan on doing something in the future, but it won't be live like this. It might be like one show a month and something like that. But it's nothing. It's going to be kind of totally different than we have here. Just maybe to add to what you guys got going. Thinking about it, it's going to be a while in the works.
Well, we would definitely watch it. I know there's a lot of people that I've noticed they really they follow these things. There's some people, I know one person in general, if there's an ME live stream, they're there. There's very few that they're not there. I'm surprised I don't see them over here. They may have actually went to sleep, or maybe I just ain't seen them chat yet. It might just be hanging out. But one person, every stream I go in, if it's Mandela Effect, they're there. So I guarantee you would have a couple watchers. I would definitely come on if you had a live stream like that. I'd definitely come on and hang out with you and discuss stuff. That'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that, buddy. And I'll get that together and figure it out.
Definitely. Let me know about that. I look forward to that. That'd be fun, guys. Another channel to look forward to. Go ahead and get subbed up now, and you'll know later. Guys, real quick, if you are enjoying what we're doing here tonight, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Hit that like and subscribe button if you're new. For those new in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out this long. We're going to go just a little longer and shut it down. I don't want to get too extreme with it. I know there's one or two in there, so thank you so much for hanging out and chatting. And
one or two. Yeah. You got about 30 people in there in the middle of the night. You're really like, wow, I'm really proud of you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's getting kind of my normal stream time. I'm actually a little over my normal time, but that's all right. I ain't got nobody behind me, so I can go a little longer and not make anybody mad or cut anybody's streams. So that's one reason I like the night shift.
Yeah, I do the interviews and stuff on my channel, but I also try to throw out some tools from things that maybe I got hindered and stuck in to try to help. I can throw out the rope, but it's up to the people if they want to grab it or not. You can either experience yourself, like I said, or take the wisdom offered. So I do devotionals or small short clips, and then I do interviews and spontaneous live streams. Yeah, just like this one. These are fun, though. Dark Wolf, this is fun. It would be nice to see you offer something like this in your repertoire. Just have like spontaneous guests just pop on with you, and you know, you're lit up. I mean, you're just like glowing right now. So obviously you're having a good time. So it's great.
So different. Like I said, I've been trying to mix the style up and do something I haven't done before. And I've been wanting to do a secret door like George Norrie does at Coast to Coast. And like I said, without turning the monitor off, I can't do that. But I can drop a link and just see who pops in on me and go from there. So it's just as fun.
That's
Capt,
brave.
You about to say something, my friend?
Oh, yeah, man. I was just going to say thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it, brother. And I'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Don't head out just yet. We're almost done.
All right.
I'm not closing it down. I'm just taking a little, intervention there what do they call that? Intermission.
Breaks. He takes his channel breaks.
Channel breaks, yes. Now pausing for station identification. You're watching Dark Wolf's Den.
I'm up close and personal watching Dark Wolf's Den.
There we go. You're watching Dark Wolf's Den, a part of the ME24-7 group. Check us out on YouTube. Anyway.
Don't do that. You're freaking me out, man.
All right, back to the show. Michele, question. If you were to give advice to a person who had maybe just found the Mandela effect yesterday, and they're really about to start their journey and figure it out, what would you say to them? What would be your advice to a brand new person?
Well, a brand new person, I would probably recommend a couple of people that I would advise them to view, because there's been several of you guys that have actually helped me along, with what I'm going through. So I would do more of advice, like, check out your channel, for example. Check out Money Bags, Scarab, possibly Photo Helix. His is more storytelling. There's a few people for a brand spanking new person. Definitely Money Bags, because he puts it out so short, to the point, and lets people actually vote whether they're seeing it or not. Very simplified. And then lead them into, what your content is, because you're putting out Mandela effects, but with experiments and research. So, I would just recommend, steps that I took that helped pull me through it. That's what I would do.
And I appreciate that. That sounds like something I would do. Hey, check these guys out. Check these out. Captain, what about you? Person who just found the Mandela effect. They've come up to you. Man, what is this? What in the world's going on? What would your advice be?
First, I'll bring them into Discord, try to figure out from their experiences what they've seen. I noticed that everybody, they're not really levels of spirituality they go through, but different stages. And I might have been through some stages that other haven't, and vice versa. And we help each other grow in those aspects and help connect the dots with each other. So I would take them into the Discord, have them just listen to us discuss. Obviously, you guys' channels are in there, and whatever is drawn to them that in their search, that it'll take it there, and then I can recommend from their experiences and where they're at. Yeah, I think it would be an individual assessment in each person.
Gotcha. Appreciate that. We're going to try to do these shows more often, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed this different style than I normally do at night. Is there anything, Cap, you'd like to add here at the end? Anything we didn't get to? Thoughts crossed your mind? Thoughts maybe I didn't ask about? Anything like that?
Love you guys. That's about it.
Appreciate it. Well, we love you too, man. We appreciate you coming on. You surprised me. When I dropped it in, I did not expect you to pop in. It's been wonderful, wonderful hanging out with you. It's been a real welcome surprise. I've enjoyed every last second, and I look forward to having you back on later, again in the future.
We'll do. It's mutual. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Guys, check out his channel. He does music. Might not be your type of music. May be. I don't know. Go ahead and drop his channel link one more time in there. Great artist, in my opinion. A real person. You can see he's not Hollywooded out. He's just a normal Joe trying to make music, trying to make a living like us. And he's Mandela affected. So give him some love over there, guys. When he starts doing streams, you'll be the first to know. Michele, anything that we've not talked about or you would like to add or anything along those lines?
Can I elaborate a little more on the brand new Mandela affected person?
Absolutely.
I did a little research on Suso before I interviewed him, and the atmosphere that he works in and stuff. Having that questionnaire for them to ask them, what they remember, and then to tell them what it actually is now, is a very gentle and fun way, kind of like playing Trivial Pursuit with somebody, and then that will like spark that little light in them and get that big blaze starting to go. And I did like his approach, that he used, but he's got the perfect atmosphere to do that kind of activity. But I did want to bring that up because I thought, wow, what an amazing thing to do and to share. And then in the background, he's got the subliminal messages going by playing Mandela Effect Monday in the background, But there's just there is subtle ways without trying to be an iron fist and to bring people along. And I just wanted to add that. And yeah, guys, everybody's welcome over my channel. I love doing interviews with people and their testimonials. If you've got a channel, I don't care what your subscriber amount is. That matters not to me. I'm trying to do about 2 interviews a week so I can still spontaneous live. And I do my daily or try to put out some content daily also. So, pop by, and if I'm not the one that resonates with you, then possibly somebody that I've interviewed may, resonate with you better and, utilize that. And anybody, like I said, that I've interviewed will show up on the My Divine Family listings. Very easy to find on my channel homepage. So, yeah, all is welcome. And, we're in this together. And I do often drop the link for the chat forum called Flame. Also, I want to add all 3 of us that are here now are members of that forum. So it's not that we're that you can't get a hold of us or that, we're so far removed. We're not. We're people. We're just like everybody else. We're learning. We're growing. I'm actually brand new to YouTube, and the outpour of love that has been shown my way and, is just absolutely amazing. The people are just so wonderful, and, and just realize that so are you. We're all people and we're all in this together. And that's all I want to say. And thank you very much for, having us on, Dark Wolf. This has been an honor.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for coming on and joining me spontaneously out of the blue. I didn't know who to expect. I just dropped the link, and whoever jumps on, jumps on. It could have been anybody. I'm really glad it was you guys. I appreciate it. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I sincerely appreciate you guys. I have dropped the link here. The last link I dropped in the chat is Michele's link, and you can find the Discord group over there if you're interested in joining. I do pop in and out. It's one of the places I go to discuss research and discuss theory topics, and I come up with something. Sometimes I jump in there and run it past people, see what I get back. And all kind of different ideas in that Discord room. So if you're interested, definitely come over and check us out, hang out with the people, meet some new people, might make some good friends. I know I have. I appreciate everybody who stopped by in the chat. Nyakas, Preliminal, Joanne, Mandela Mile, Master Richie, Gems TV, James Johnson, Enlightened Kilt. Thanks for hanging out with us the whole time. Glad to see you enjoyed it. Anybody who's chatted, Patrick, Martha, anybody who's chatted I missed, shout out to you guys. Shout out to everybody listening that's not in chat. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us and listening to what we got to say. For whatever reason you're not able to type, that's awesome. We still appreciate you being here. Shout out to that one hater that I got that keeps thumbing down my video. Really glad you keep coming back to make sure I'm doing work. It's awesome. So shout out to my haters. You guys make me do the best work. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been an episode. Go ahead.
Sorry, before you zip it up, I did drop the link to the chat forum flame. I know I should have asked you first.
No, that's fine. No, by all means.
We discussed it and we're all in that, and Captain. And it really, I tell you guys, when you're going through these struggles and it's almost like an identity crisis, the world is one way and you're like, you're seeing and feeling things in a different way. That group in there can really help balance you out. They'll listen to your testimonies, and there's nothing taboo there. I'll tell you, there's nothing that you can say in there that we haven't already either been through ourselves, heard already, and have expanded our awareness to incorporate what all of us are going through. So, yeah, I hope to see you guys there. Yes, and thank you, Darko, for allowing me to drop that.
Absolutely. I'm glad you did because I didn't have the link. That's why I was sending them over to your channel because I didn't have time to go grab the link and get it all together and get it dropped. So that's even better on me. That's easier. And I'll tell you what, guys, as a bonus, I'll go over here and hang out in the Discord channel a while if you guys want to come over and talk. It is an all open talk chat type deal. It ain't going to be just, just you looking at me and that's it. And I'm kind of half interacting in the chat here. So if you guys want to hang out with me and the guy in the group, come on over to Discord. I'll drop in there right now and hang out with you guys. So on that note, Michele, I hope to see you and Captain there. I know Captain's going to be there. Hope to see everybody there. Thank you guys who are watching. Thank you guys who've joined us in the replay. Thank everybody who's joined us in chat. Thank everybody who couldn't chat. Thank everybody all the way around. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the ME24 on Dark Wolf's Den. I appreciate everybody who's listened. Remember always, stay awake, but dare to dream. Bye, everybody.